Hey guys, welcome back. It's Miss Brandon. So I hope that y'all got a chance to watch my last recording of Chapter 10, Part 1. So I'm going to finish the book today. I think I have like 5 pages left. And I know if you watch the last recording, then you're probably like on the edge of your seat like I was, right? Because we left off on a cliffhanger because Miss Brandon loves to do that with y'all. So happy Wednesday. I'm going to post this on our blog, or on the website. Got my coffee. I'm ready to read to you guys, finish up this super awesome book before we start a new one. Okay? So we left off for my kiddos that are getting a little refresher. We left off and they were on their way to the emergency room with Fudge because what had happened? Yes, so he swallowed a turtle, which seems totally unreal. I don't see how it could have happened either. Okay, so, and Peter was just upset because nobody really cared about Peter's feelings, did they? His mom was all in a tizzy about Fudge swallowing a turtle, which rightfully so. I would be a little worried if somebody swallowed a turtle. Okay, so, but all I could think about was Dribble. Finally, the elevator got to our floor. There were 3 people in it besides Harry. This is an emergency, Mom wailed. The ambulance is waiting downstairs. Please hurry. Yes, Mrs. Hatcher, of course, Henry said. I'll run her down just as fast as I can. No other stops. Someone poked me in the back. I turned around. It was Mrs. Rudder. What's the matter? She whispered. It's my brother, I whispered back. He ate my turtle. Mrs. Rudder whispered that to the man next to her, and he whispered it to the lady next to him, who whispered it to Henry. I faced front and pretended I did not hear anything. My mother turned around with Fudge in her arms and said, That's not funny at all. But Fudge said, Funny, Fudgy. Everybody laughed, except my mother. Remember, because what was Mom busy doing? Wailing and crying. The elevator door opened. 2 men dressed in white were waiting with the stretcher. Who do you think those people are? The EMTs, people, the ambulance workers. This is the baby? One of them asked. Because remember on the phone, Mom had said it was a baby. And Fudge really isn't a baby. He's a toddler. Yes, it is, Mom sobbed. Don't worry, lady. We'll be at the hospital in no time. Come on, Peter, my mom said, tugging at my sleeve. We're going to ride into the ambulance with Fudge. My mother and I climbed into the back of the blue ambulance. I've never been in one before. It was actually pretty cool. Fudge knelt on a cot and peered out through the window. He waved at the crowd of people that had gathered on the sidewalk. That seemed like Fudge was very hurt or sick or anything right now. He's kind of soaking up all the attention, isn't he? Of course. One of the attendants sat in the back with us. The other one was driving. What seems to be the trouble, lady? The attendant asked. This kid looks pretty healthy to me. He swallowed a turtle, my mother whispered. He did what? The attendant asked me. Ate my turtle. That's what he did, I told him. My mother covered her face with her hanky and started to cry again. Hey, Joe, the attendant called to the driver. Make it snappy. This kid swallowed a turtle. That is not funny, my mother insisted. I didn't think so either, considering it was my turtle. We arrived at the back door of the hospital. Fudge was whisked away by 2 nurses. My mother started to run after him. You wait here, young man, another nurse called to me, pointing to a bench. I sat down on the bench. I had nothing to do. There were no books or magazines, like when I go to Dr. Cohn's office. So I watched the clock and read all the signs on the walls. I found out that I was in the emergency section of the hospital. After a while, the nurse came back. She gave me some paper and crayons. Here you go. Be a good boy and draw some pictures. Your mother will be out soon. I wonder if she knew about Dribble, and that's why she was trying to be nice to me. But I didn't feel like drawing any pictures. I wondered what they were going to do to Fudge. Maybe he wasn't such a bad kid after all. I remembered that Jimmy Fargo's little cousin once swallowed the most valuable rock from Jimmy's collection. And my mother told me that when I was a little kid, I swallowed a quarter. Still, quarter's nothing like a turtle. I watched the clock on the wall for an hour and 10 minutes. Then a door opened, and my mother stepped out with Dr. Cohn. I was surprised to see him. I didn't know he worked in a hospital. Hello, Peter, he said. Hey, Dr. Cohn, did you get my turtle out? Not yet, Peter. he said, but I do have something to show you. Here are some x-rays of your brothers. Do y'all know what an x-ray is? It's like when they go and they take these pictures so they can see your bones and see what's happening inside your body. Here's some x-rays of your brother. I studied the x-rays as Dr. Cohen pointed things out to me. You see, he said, there's your turtle, right there. I looked hard. So will he be in there forever? I asked. No, definitely not. We'll get him out. We gave Fudge some medicine already. That should do the trick nicely. What kind of medicine? What kind of medicine do y'all think that is? How would he possibly get out? I asked. What trick? Castor oil, Peter, my mother said. Fudge took castor oil and milk of magnesia and prune juice. Lots of that. All of those things will help get Dribble out of Fudge's tummy. We just have to wait, Dr. Cohen said. Probably until tomorrow or the day after. Fudge will have to spend the night here. But I don't think he's going to be swallowing anything that he isn't supposed to be for a while. Well, how about Dribble, I asked. Will Dribble be okay? Y'all think Dribble's going to make it? My mother and Dr. Cohen looked at each other. I knew the answer before he shook his head and said, I think he might have to get a new turtle, Peter. No, I don't want a new turtle, I said. Tears came to my eyes. I was embarrassed and wiped them away with the back of my hand. Then my nose started to run and I had to sniffle. No, I want Dribble. That's the only turtle I want. Why do y'all think Dribble is so special to him? Remember in the beginning of the story we found out that he won Dribble at the party, and he's had him for quite a while, hasn't he? Have you ever had to lose a pet before? It's not very fun, is it? They become a part of your family. My mother took me home in a taxi. She told me my father was on his way to the hospital to be with Fudge. When we got home, she made me lamb chops. That's his favorite, remember? But I wasn't very hungry. My father came home late that night. I was still up. My father looked gloomy. Ooh, that's a vocabulary word. He whispered to my mother, not yet, nothing yet. What do you think he's talking about? Fudge. The next day was Saturday, so that meant no school. But I had to spend the whole day in the waiting room in the hospital. There were plenty of people around, and magazines and books too. It wasn't like the hard bench in the emergency hallway. It was more like a living room. I told everybody that my brother ate a turtle. They started to look at me funny every time I said it. But nobody ever said they were sorry to hear about my turtle. Never. Not once. My mother joined me for supper in the hospital coffee shop. I ordered a hamburger, but I left most of it. Why do you think he doesn't have an appetite? He's probably so upset about his turtle. Because right in the middle of the supper, my mother told me that if the medicine didn't work soon, Fudge might have to get an operation to get Dribble out of him. My mother didn't eat either. That night, my grandmother came to stay with me. My mother and father stayed at the hospital with Fudge. Things were pretty dreary at home. What does that word dreary mean? Sad. They're all very worried. Every hour the phone rang. It was my mother calling from the hospital with a report. Not yet. I see, my grandma would repeat. Nothing happening yet. I was miserable. I was lonely. Grandma didn't notice. I even missed Fudge banging his pots and pans together. In the middle of the night, the phone rang again. It woke me up, and I crept out into the hallway to hear what was going on. Grandma shouted, "Woohoo! It's out! Good news at last!" She hung up and turned to me. "Peter, the medicine finally worked. All that castor oil and milk of magnesia and prune juice finally worked. The turtle is out." What do you think his first question is going to be? Ready? "Alive or dead?" I asked. "Peter Warren Hatcher, what a question!" my grandma shouted. So my brother no longer had a turtle inside of him, and I no longer had a turtle. I didn't like Fudge as much as I thought I did before the phone rang. The next morning, Fudge came home from the hospital. My father carried him into the apartment. My mother's arms were loaded with presents, all for Fudge. My mother put the presents down and kissed him. Peter is so frustrated right now. It feels like nobody's paid him any attention. Nobody cares about him. She said, "Fudgy can have anything he wants, anything at all. Mommy's so happy her baby's all better." It was disgusting. presents, kisses, attention for Fudge. I couldn't even look at him. He was having fun. He probably wasn't even sorry that he ate my turtle. That night, my father came home with the biggest box of all. It wasn't wrapped up or anything, but I just knew it was another present. I turned away from my father. Peter, he said, this box is a surprise for you. Well, I don't want another turtle, I said. Don't think you can make me feel better with another turtle, because guess what? You can't. Who said anything about a turtle? Dad asked. You see, Peter, your mother and I think you've been a really good sport about the whole situation. What does that mean, a good sport? I mean, he's handled the situation pretty well, considering he lost his turtle and it was eaten by his little brother. After all, Dribble was your pet. I looked up. Could I be hearing them right? Did they really remember about me and Dribble? I put my hand inside the box, and I felt something warm and soft and furry. I knew it was a dog, but I pretended to be surprised when he jumped up on my lap and licked me. Fudge started crying, "Oh, doggy see, doggy see." He ran right over and grabbed my dog's tail. "Fudge," my father said, taking him away. "This is your brother's dog. Maybe someday you'll have a dog on your own. But this one belongs to Peter. Do you understand?" Fudge started to nod. "Peter's dog." "That's right," my father said. "Peter's dog." Then he turned to me. "And just to be sure, son," he said, "we got a dog that's going to grow quite big. Much too big for your brother to swallow." We all laughed. My dog was amazing. I named him Turtle to always remind me. The end. It's finished, guys. Did you love it? Did y'all like the ending? Peter got a dog. Well, and actually there is a sequel to this, which means it's the next book. I believe it's Super Fudge, maybe, is the sequel, and the dog that's named Turtle is in the book. So if you get a chance, try to look for that book next time you get to go out, okay? We're going to start a new book, hopefully tomorrow or Friday. And this, guys, I always close the year out reading this book with my students. And it is one of, I know y'all hear me say that a lot, that I have a lot of favorite books. But this is truly one of my most favorite chapter books to read. This is Because of Winn-Dixie. And it's by Kate DiCamillo. And she's one of my favorite children's book authors. This is an amazing story. Obviously, you know I like reading books about animals. But we're going to get to meet this this dog on here. And this dog has quite the impact on a little town that she goes and kind of finds herself in. We're going to talk a little bit more about this book before we get started. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. I will see you this afternoon at our 1:30 meeting, and I can't wait to hear your thoughts on the book. Bye, y'all.